Well, I can see this being a very controversial video and everybody's slamming the dislikes, but I personally think that clipper lighters are much better than Bic lighters, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. Now, everybody seems to like either one or two of these lighters, you can't seem to like either. And don't get me wrong, I do like the Bic lighters, but the clippers are simply a better lighter. So I'm going to go into the reasons why, and then you can feel free to disagree, but if you do disagree, please leave me a good reason in the comments, don't just say, I hate you and your opinion, you're wrong. Right, so what we have here is the standard cheap clipper lighter and then the standard cheap disposable Bic lighter. These come in two sizes, you can get the slightly bigger ones. But let's go into the reasons why I like the clipper more. So, firstly, the retail price of these, although the Bics are slightly cheaper, a pack of 5 disposable Bics, for instance, isn't much cheaper than a pack of refillable clippers. So if they're disposable lighters, I'd like them to be a lot cheaper, because obviously once you've used the gas that comes with the clipper lighters, you can very cheaply refill them, and you can keep them lasting longer and longer and longer. So let's look at some of the features of lighters. As said, Bics are not refillable. There's a cap there, but it's sealed in the factory. There is ways of refilling them, but you're basically modifying the lighter to do it. They're not meant to be refillable, they're meant to be disposable. Clippers, on the other hand, as you can see at the bottom, that red bit, that's where you refill it with standard butane gas. It's very cheap to buy a can of butane gas, probably $1 or $2 or pounds for a big can of butane, and you can refill the lighters hundreds of times with a bottle that size. So clipper wins on being refillable for a very similar price to the Bics. For striking, the clipper one is absolutely fine. A lot of people complain about these hexagonal wheels, and while I do prefer the round wheels that are on the more expensive clipper lighters, the hexagonal wheel is absolutely fine to actually catch and light easily. The Bics have this round wheel with this weird little cover on it. I'm not actually sure what the point of that cover is because it gets in the way of the wheel. Again, they light very efficiently, but however, I'm not a massive fan of it. The other thing I don't really like about the Bics is there's no fuel adjustment on it. I think some models of Bic have it, but not the two types of Bic I've got at home. Now with the clipper, while there's no fuel adjustment lever on one of the cheap clippers, what you can do is once the lighter's lit, when you turn it that way, the size of the flame increases. And that's designed so when you're lighting a pipe with a downwards action, you get a bigger flame. The other interesting thing is the size of them. Obviously, as I said, you can get bigger Bics, so that's not a complaint about this smaller Bic. But the clipper is designed so that you can pack a pipe with the bottom of it like that, like using a pipe tool. And that's something you can't do with a Bic because it's just a normal lighter shape. So the clipper wins on versatility. The other interesting thing with the clipper is, if you pull out the flint, it's awkward because the light is hot, but there we go. You can use this as a packing tool for cigarettes with the end of this, and you can use the sort of flint for sparks separate from the actual lighter itself. It's probably not that visible on the video, but there we go. If you needed it for a survival reason, you can take that out, and you can swap these or remove the flints either way if you wanted to use it again to refill it. Something you can't do with the Bic. Again, I do understand that the Bic is meant to be a disposable lighter, but because the prices are so similar, it seems you get a lot more for your money with a clipper. As said, as well as packing a pipe for the bottom bit, supposedly you can shove it in the top of a bottle, and it keeps insects out of the bottle if you're drinking outside in the summer, which I don't know if it's an intended feature, but it's quite a useful thing people have told me about. So that's my main reasons for liking the clipper more than the Bic. What I'd like Bic to do, because Clipper have done it, is to release a slightly more expensive refillable model. I said the normal cheap clippers are refillable, but you've got these nice metal clippers that are also refillable. These are only about £4 or £5 each. Metal casing. At the bottom there you can adjust the flame height. And this one has a nice round wheel, easier to strike and nicer on the thumb. And I've got it set to a nice big flame on there. So there you go. So if you disagree that the Bic is a better lighter than the clipper, so you think the Bic is a better lighter than the clipper, unlike me that I'm saying it the other way around, leave a comment explaining why. Don't get angry, actually explain the reasons. If you've got good reasons, I'll consider them, but most people just try and insult me, saying the Bic is better than the clipper. Now, one of the great things about Bics is because they're designed to be disposable lighters and they're not that expensive, you can buy a few packs of them, store them in different places as sort of, not really an EDC lighter, but, you know, in different places. So if you need a lighter, you've always got one to hand somewhere, like one in the car glove box, one in a cupboard in your house, one near some candles or something like that. So that is a good feature about the Bic, because Bics, I will agree, are much better than cheaper lighters, because for example in dollar stores and in Poundland in the UK, you can buy packs of about 5 to 10 very cheap disposable lighters. However, they don't hold much fuel compared to a Bic, and often they don't strike. They've got very, very bad flints, and the flames aren't often very good, and it's some really cheap kind of butane or fuel, because it always smells absolutely horrible when you light them. So there we go. Bics are definitely better than the other brands of disposable lighters, but for the price they cost, I personally think the clippers are a lot better value for money, especially because they're refillable.